She posted on Facebook, "He lasted 30 seconds our first time and cries during movies," and tagged my entire family, boss, and coworkers, so I silently packed, blocked her, and left. Now she's broke, friendless, and her family won't speak to her. Hey, viewers! Before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I should have seen it coming. Looking back, the signs were all there, but when you're in love with someone, you make excuses for behavior that would make you run from anyone else. Sarah had always been active on social media. It was literally her job as a social media manager for a local marketing firm, but somewhere along the way, her online presence became less about work and more about performing our entire relationship for strangers. It started innocently enough. She'd post photos of our dinner dates, share stories about our weekend plans, tag me in relationship memes. I didn't mind at first. Hell, I was proud to be with her. Sarah was beautiful, outgoing, and had this infectious energy that drew people to her. But gradually, the posts became more personal, more frequent, and more invasive. "Sarah, maybe we don't need to post every detail of our lives?" I suggested one evening after she'd shared a story about our morning argument over whose turn it was to do dishes. She looked at me like I'd suggested she cut off her arm. "This is how I express myself, Mike." My followers love the authenticity. They're always commenting about how real and relatable our relationship is. "But some things should just be between us," I said, trying to keep my voice gentle. "Like this morning's discussion about chores. That was private." "You're being controlling," she snapped, her fingers already flying across her phone screen. "Social media is my job. You know this. My engagement rates are through the roof because people connect with genuine content." I watched her type something, probably another post about our conversation, and felt that familiar knot in my stomach. "I'm not trying to control you. I just prefer to keep our relationship private." "Private?" She laughed, but it wasn't a pleasant sound. "Or are you ashamed? My followers are asking why you never want to be in my posts anymore." "Because I don't want our relationship to be performed for strangers," I replied, immediately regretting my choice of words. Her eyes flashed. "Performed? Is that what you think this is? A performance?" I should have backed down. Should have apologized and let it go. But something in me was tired of walking on eggshells every time she pulled out her phone. "Sometimes, yeah. It feels like you're more interested in documenting our life than actually living it." The silence that followed was deafening. Sarah stared at me for a long moment, then returned to her phone without another word. I assumed she was cooling off, maybe posting some vague inspirational quote about relationships requiring work. I had no idea she was crafting something much worse. Over the next few weeks, the posts became more passive-aggressive. "When your boyfriend doesn't understand your career," followed by a long caption about supporting your partner's dreams. Some people are just naturally more private, and some people have something to hide eyes, with a photo of her looking thoughtful. Each post garnered dozens of comments from her followers, mostly women who didn't know me, but were ready to support her against this mysterious, unsupportive boyfriend. My friends started asking questions. My sister called to ask if everything was okay between us. Even my mother, who barely used Facebook, had seen some of the posts and was concerned. But I loved Sarah, and I kept telling myself this was just a phase. She was stressed about work, insecure about our relationship, and social media was her outlet. I could handle some vague posts if it meant avoiding bigger fights. Then came tax season. As an accountant, January through April is hell. 60-hour weeks, weekend work, constant stress. Sarah knew this. We'd been together for 2 years, and she'd seen me go through it twice before. But this year, she seemed to take my work schedule as a personal attack. "You always choose work over me," she said one evening when I came home at 9 p.m. after a particularly brutal day. "It's tax season, Sarah. You know this. It's temporary." I was exhausted, barely able to keep my eyes open, but I could see she was upset. "I know it's hard, but it'll be over soon. I just feel like I'm not a priority," she continued, her voice taking on that whiny tone that meant she was gearing up for a fight. "You are," I insisted, sitting down beside her on the couch. "Once this deadline passes, I'm all yours. How about we plan a weekend away? Somewhere nice, just the two of us." She seemed to consider this, her expression softening slightly. "Fine. Whatever." I thought that was the end of it. I kissed her goodnight, promised we'd talk more about vacation plans over breakfast, and fell into bed completely drained. I had no idea that while I was sleeping, Sarah was wide awake, crafting the nuclear bomb that would destroy not just our relationship, but my reputation, my peace of mind, and any respect I had for the woman I thought I loved. I woke up to my phone buzzing incessantly. 47 notifications. My stomach dropped before I even opened Facebook, some instinct warning me that something was very, very wrong. The post was worse than anything I could have imagined. Time to expose my man-child boyfriend Mike Henderson, since apparently I'm supposed to just accept being treated like garbage. For those who think he's such a nice guy, he prioritizes work over me always, hasn't taken me on a real date in months, and literally told me last night that his accounting job is more important than my feelings. Oh, and for the record, he cries during movies and lasted exactly 30 seconds our first time together. But sure, let's all pretend he's this amazing catch when he can't even remember to text me back. His own mother knows he's selfish. She told me at Christmas dinner that he's always been self-centered. I'm done pretending everything is fine when I'm dating someone who thinks a drive-through counts as romance. Wake up, Mike. You're 28 and act like you're 12. Hashtag done with man-children. Hashtag know your worth. Hashtag single and ready. My hands shook as I read it. She'd tagged everyone. My parents, my siblings, my coworkers, my boss, my college friends, even my elderly grandmother who barely understood Facebook. The post already had over 100 likes and dozens of comments from her followers, strangers who were laughing at details about my most private moments. The worst part? Half of it was lies. The Christmas dinner comment from my mother never happened. The 30 seconds thing was a cruel exaggeration of one awkward moment from 2 years ago. The drive-through romance was referring to a single time I'd picked up food when she was sick and didn't want to cook. But the intimate details that were true? Those hurt worse than the lies. My phone started ringing. My mother. Michael, what is this post? Your father is mortified. Her voice was shaking, and I could hear my dad in the background asking what was wrong. Mom, I had no idea she was going to do this. She's saying I called you selfish at Christmas dinner. That never happened. I would never say that, especially not to your girlfriend. I know, Mom. I know. Michael, people are sharing this. Mrs. Peterson from down the street just called to ask if you're okay. Before I could respond, my work phone started buzzing. A text from my boss. Mike, I don't usually get involved in personal matters, but this is affecting the workplace. Several clients have mentioned seeing something online. Can we talk? I closed my eyes, feeling the walls closing in. I understand, Mr. Peterson. I'll handle it. But how do you handle something like this? How do you defend yourself against a public character assassination without looking defensive? How do you explain to your 78-year-old grandmother that your girlfriend lied about your sexual performance to hundreds of strangers? I tried calling Sarah, but she blocked my number. I tried texting, blocked there too. She nuked our relationship and then disappeared, leaving me to deal with the fallout alone. The comments on her post kept coming. Her followers, mostly women in their 20s who saw her as some kind of relationship guru, were cheering her on. You deserve so much better, queen. Men are trash. You're better off without him. He sounds like a typical narcissist. But then something interesting started happening. People who actually knew me began responding. My sister commented, Sarah, this is completely inappropriate. Mike has always been nothing but respectful to you. My college friend Dave wrote, Dude, I've known Mike for 10 years. This is character assassination. Even my coworker Jennifer, who barely knew Sarah, posted, This is not okay. Airing private details about someone online is cruel. And then my mother, bless her heart, posted a response that made me proud to be her son. I raised my son to be respectful and private. This public attack says more about the poster than about him. But the damage was done. I spent the day fielding phone calls, deleting friend requests from strangers who wanted to gawk at the drama, and trying to salvage my professional reputation. My boss was understanding but concerned. Several clients had indeed seen the post, and the intimate details were, as he put it, not great for the firm's image. That evening, I sat in my apartment staring at my phone, watching strangers dissect my relationship and my character. I thought about defending myself, about posting my own response detailing Sarah's behavior, her increasing need for attention, her manipulation of our private moments for content. I could have exposed her lies, shared screenshots of her more unhinged messages, made her look just as bad as she'd made me look. Instead, I deactivated my Facebook account. I packed my belongings methodically. Clothes, books, my few pieces of furniture. Sarah had a key to my apartment, but she was staying with her sister for space to think, according to her latest Instagram story. I left a simple note on the kitchen counter. I won't be part of your performance anymore. By the weekend, I'd moved into a new apartment across town. I changed my phone number, blocked Sarah on every platform I could think of, and started the process of rebuilding my life. I consulted with a lawyer about defamation, the intimate details, the professional implications, the outright lies about my mother's comments gave me a strong case. This is clear defamation, the lawyer told me, reviewing screenshots I'd taken before deactivating. The intimate details, the professional implications, the false statements about your family. You could pursue significant damages. I just wanted to stop, I said. I don't want to be vindictive. Keep all evidence, he advised. If this affects your job or reputation further, we have options. But I didn't need legal action. Sarah's post, which she'd meant as a triumphant declaration of independence, began to backfire spectacularly. The comments section, which had started as a Sarah support group, slowly turned critical. Her own sister commented, "Sarah, this is embarrassing. Take this down." Former friends began expressing concern about her mental state. Her followers started questioning whether this level of public humiliation was appropriate. Within a week, Sarah had lost dozens of Facebook friends. Her Instagram engagement plummeted as people began to see her content differently. Her employer, a conservative marketing firm that valued discretion, called her in for a meeting about maintaining professional boundaries on social media. I heard all this through mutual friends who remained in contact with both of us. Sarah's behavior had made them uncomfortable, but they felt obligated to maintain relationships with both parties. Through them, I learned that Sarah was spiraling. The attention she'd craved had turned negative, and she was struggling to understand why her authentic post had been so poorly received. 3 months later, she'd lost her job. Her employer cited unprofessional social media conduct and poor judgment regarding client confidentiality after she'd posted vague details about their campaigns. Her family had staged an intervention, with her mother calling her behavior toxic and embarrassing to the family. Most of her friends had quietly distanced themselves, unwilling to be associated with someone who might expose their private lives for social media content. 6 months after the post, Sarah showed up at my new apartment. I built a good life in those 6 months. New job with a firm that valued my discretion and professionalism. New apartment in a quiet neighborhood. I'd even started dating again. Amanda, a teacher who valued privacy as much as I did and thought social media was mostly a waste of time. Sarah looked different. Thinner, tired, with dark circles under her eyes that no amount of Instagram filters could hide. She'd clearly been crying. "Mike, please," she said when I opened the door. "I know I messed up. I was just hurt and angry." "You tagged my mother, Sarah," I replied calmly. "You shared details about our private life with my coworkers. I can delete everything. I can post an apology. I can make this right. The damage is done. You chose to make our relationship public property." "I lost my job," she said, her voice breaking. "My own family won't talk to me. I have no friends left. Those were consequences of your choices, not mine." She stared at me, and I could see her trying to find some angle, some way to make this my fault. "So that's it? You won't even try to forgive me?" "I forgave you months ago," I said, and I meant it. But forgiving doesn't mean forgetting, and it definitely doesn't mean going back. "Please, Mike. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry." I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt nothing but pity. This woman who had once been the center of my world was now a stranger, someone who had chosen temporary validation from strangers over the trust and love of someone who cared about her. "I hope you learn from this, Sarah, but I won't be part of your learning process. Please," she whispered. "I know I can change." I deleted Facebook. I don't post about relationships anymore. "I understand now." "I know you're sorry," I said gently, "but sorry doesn't undo public humiliation. Take care of yourself." I closed the door and listened to her cry in the hallway for a few minutes before her footsteps faded away. Later, I learned she'd tried to contact me through various fake accounts, had asked mutual friends to intervene, had even considered showing up at my workplace. But I'd built good boundaries, and the people in my life now understood the importance of privacy and respect. A year later, I married Amanda in a small ceremony with close family and friends. No social media coverage, no hashtags, no performance. Just two people who loved each other, surrounded by people who respected that love. I heard through the grapevine that Sarah had moved back in with her parents, was working part-time at a retail job, and had largely disappeared from social media. Her friends told me she'd learned her lesson, that she understood now how badly she behaved. I hope that's true. I hope she finds peace and learns to build relationships based on genuine connection rather than social media validation. But I also hope she understands that some mistakes can't be undone, and some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. The funny thing is, Sarah's post is still out there somewhere, cached on various drama sites and gossip forums. Occasionally, someone will send me a link, asking if I'm the Mike from that crazy Facebook post. I always smile and say I don't know what they're talking about. Because that Mike, the one who accepted disrespect in the name of love, who let someone use his private life for public entertainment, who apologized for setting boundaries, that Mike doesn't exist anymore. The man I am now surrounds himself with people who understand that real love happens in private moments, not public performances. And that's a lesson worth learning, even if it took public humiliation to teach it to me. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button.